Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be comparing unit rates. It's actually very similar to 5.3, which we were comparing just ratios. This is, I think, easier. Evidence-wise, we're going to calculate unit rates, obviously. Then we're going to talk about how do you compare them. And I threw this one in there just because we haven't seen it for a while. Persevere and seek more. If this is challenging, keep trying. The best way to get better at this is just to keep practicing it and keep doing it over and over and over again until it becomes real easy. Learning experiences down there, it's the usual. And yeah, so let's jump right into it. So in our example for today, you have Marth who is able to run 50 meters in 15 seconds. Sita is able to run 30 meters in 10 seconds. You're going to create a ratio table for each person. Didn't we already do this one? If only there was an easier way to do it as well. Well, guess what? There is, actually. Instead of making tables, we can make unit rates. And then we can compare those unit rates, and it's a lot faster. So, what does that actually mean? Well, we're going to start off by writing down our first rate. So we had a rate for Marth, which was 50 meters in 15 seconds. Next, we're going to have to find a unit rate. So if you think back to the last video, make sure you've watched that if you didn't, we are going to need to divide both values by whatever our bottom value was. So that means that we're going to have to do a little bit of long division. We at least know that 15 divided by 15 is just 1. We have 1 second here. Then we'll have to do some long division, so 50 divided by 15. Well, 15 doesn't go into 5, so that's 0. It does go into 50 3 times. 3 times 15 would be 45. We subtract, and then we will end up with 5. Next, we have to bring in a 0 so that we can drop it down. And we do the same thing. Now you might notice that this is another 50, so we're going to get another 3 here. 3 times 15 is 45. And when we subtract, we're going to get 5 again, which means we have to add another 0, which means that we're going to get 50, and then it's just going to repeat on and on and on forever. So we can just write it as 3.3 repeating. You could also write it as 3 1/3, but generally with rates, you want to use decimals. Having a fraction inside of a fraction looks kind of weird. So, we had to do a little bit of long division, but already we were able to figure out a unit rate. We then have to do the same thing for the other one. So we do have to do it twice. This time, Sita, she runs 30 meters in 10 seconds. Now this one's a little bit easier to find a unit rate for, because if we divide both of these by 10, 10 divided by 10, easy, 1 second. 30 divided by 10 is also really easy. It's just going to be 3, in this case, meters. So we've found our 2 unit rates. And if you had more than 2 things that you wanted to compare, you could do this for every single one of them. The last thing is just to look at these. Marth's unit rate here is saying that he can run 3.3 meters in 1 second. Sita's is saying that she can run 3 meters in 1 second. That means that Marth has to be able to run faster because he's going further in 1 second. If you remember the 5.5 video, you'll already know that Marth is faster because we already did this problem. However, it is worth seeing that this works in this case as well. We didn't need to make any tables. We didn't need to make a bunch of different equivalent ratios until we found one that worked. We just need to divide a couple things, and then we were good to go. And yeah, that's all that you need to do. Nothing too bad. Pause the video here if you need to write anything down. I did go through that kind of quickly, so if you also need to rewind, feel free to do so. Our you-do for today continues our story of Marth and Sita. Marth, after racing Sita, is now tired. He's slowed down a little bit. when suddenly a chicken attacks.
Chicken attack!
Marth is running at a pace of 40 meters in 15 seconds, while the chicken chases him at a rate of 30 meters in 11 seconds. Again, you're going to figure out who's faster. Do so by making some unit rates. See what you can do. Things to remember from this video. To find a unit rate, you need to divide both numbers by the second value. Whatever is on the bottom of your fraction, the denominator, that is the value that you want to divide by. And then to compare unit rates, you just need to compare the numerators. The denominators should be the same at that point. So you just need to look at the numerators. Is one bigger than the other? Is one smaller than the other? It depends on what the question you're trying to figure out is asking. Finally, our suggested practice problems for this video. You are going to compare these unit rates. You have 35 points in 20 minutes or 49 points in 35 minutes. Which one's bigger? Which one's smaller? The second one is 480 stickers on 6 sheets or 120 stickers on 2 sheets. Which one's bigger or smaller? And finally, you have 20 chicken nuggets.
Chicken attack!
I guess we're going to change that one, actually. Let's do 7 ham sandwiches for $7, or 3 ham sandwiches for $3.20. Again, which one's the better deal, or which one's more expensive? It depends on how you want to interpret these questions. But you do need to compare them. Tell me which one's bigger, which one's smaller. So, pause the video if you need to read these, and good luck.